Hello, Everypony, it's Lotus Moon. Alright, so if the audio quality is different from yesterday's recording, basically the story I posted up this morning, it's because I'm in my living room. And, well, it's a bit more open. But anyway, any background noise you hear, I apologize in advance for them. Anyway, I'm here with another reading, which is actually a continuation of one of my previously read stories. This one is called Everypony Still Hates Dash, and it was written by Escarada. As I said, this story is a continuation, and if you guessed by the title, it's pretty much the sequel to Everypony Hates Dash, where a young Rainbow Dash got herself into a bit more trouble than she was expecting. So let's see if she's learned her lesson or gotten into even more trouble. Enjoy! Everypony Still Hates Dash. Written by Escarada. Rainbow Doofus. Whenever some pony says that a pony's fillyhood years are the best days of their lives, I have to remind myself that almost no pony recalls their past as well as they believe. If you think really carefully about those so-called best days and find yourself wincing, you aren't nearly as starry-eyed as most ponies. One constant fact of my fillyhood was that I was almost always broke, which is why I found myself planting my saddlebag burdened butt in front of a want at display board in downtown Cloudsdale. My buddy Gilda was filming me with her brand new video camera, providing commentary the whole time. "Hey Dash," chuckled Gilda as she zoomed in a picture of a purple unicorn foal sitting in a high chair. "Here's a good one. Need foal sitter for a few hours this coming Friday night. Our little Twilight has good manners and loves having books read to her. Not at all a fussy baby, and probably no longer uses transfiguration spells on foal sitters." Blowing a raspberry, I shook my head. "You lost me at book reading. I'm no pony's egghead." "Considering how low your book report scores are, is just as well. I still can't believe you tried to read that fool's book, Goodnight Luna, in front of Miss Sirius's English class." "Hey, I told that teacher that reading that book put me on the edge of my seat, which is what happened as I read to the class. Right before you nutted off and dropped the book on the floor, as well as yourself. Because that book is supposed to put foals to sleep." I crossed my legs indignantly. "That dumb teacher thought I had a heart attack. I spent the rest of the day in the nurse's office, and I still got an F." Her camera lens crept closer to my head. "Keep talking, Dash. This is totally going in my movie library. Why do you have cool stuff like that camera, and I'm stuck with my dad's hand-me-downs?" "Well, Dashie, that's why I dragged you out here. If your folks aren't paying you an allowance, you can make a nice stack of bits from these job flyers. Thanks to them, I worked my lion's tail off mowing lawns and moving furniture over the summer while you were in detention. Now I'm the eye in the sky who sees all." "I would have an allowance if my dad didn't cut me off. He's got to pay for those Ponyville windows I accidentally broke. So bang goes my regular cash flow." "That's what happens when you break the sound barrier too close to the ground. Was Hoops pestering you again?" Impatiently tapping a hoof, I frowned into Gilda's camera. "Yes, Eagle Eye. He's still ticked off about us knocking him and his dorky buddies around like bowling pins the day you first showed up. He kept kicking me off my nap cloud, so I bugged out before I gave him the pounding he's been begging for. When I get mad, I get fast." Gilda laughed. "Well, since he knows I could toss his blank flank into the trash with just one claw, he figures you're fun-sized and therefore easier to duke it out with." "That makes me feel oodles better," I replied, rolling my eyes. Then a light bulb went off in my head. "Hey, maybe if he picks on me again, you can film that and land him in a ton of trouble with Principal Tsunami." "I only have so much tape, Dash. I can't watch you all the time. You'll have to deal with Hoops one way or another. Looking over the want ads, I sighed. Thinking about that numbskull makes me grumpy, Gilda. Help me find a job that doesn't involve foals. Or work. Here's one. Ponyville retiree Sharp Spurs needs lawn mowing on a weekly basis. Good pay. Gilda's golden eyes lit up. Hey, wasn't he a Wonderbolt at one time? Shrugging, I replied, I don't know. I don't pay much attention to sports. I saw that the job ad that Gilda read had a phone number and address slips dangling on the bottom. Since the job market seemed to be skinnier than a changeling's legs, I peeled one off and slipped it. I peeled off one slip and stuck it in my saddlebag. Well, that's one, Dashie, said Gilda encouragingly. It took me about a dozen jobs just to get this camera, though. So, let's keep looking. Ooh, this one looks cool. Need assistant to keep me from having internal monologues while we travel to other worlds in my police box. No, I don't feel like dealing with the tinfoil hat brigade, I cried, holding out my hooves as if I were warding off the job's craziness. Let's call it a day, Gilda. Flight camp starts up again tomorrow, and I gotta get ready. I just hope Hoops is finally bored of bothering me. Nope, he wasn't. Hoops' dark brown bangs obscured his eyes as he flew around me in Junior Speedsters Flight Camp playground. He waited until Gilda had to go to the bathroom to start razzing me. Since neither of us had gotten our cutie marks yet, he couldn't call me a blank flank. But that fact didn't slow down the snark train. Hey Crash, I heard you busted some ground pounders' windows. Are you trying to make your dad go broke? Oh, keep it up, Hoop-de-loop, I replied, gritting my teeth. I can break more than just windows. He waggled his hooves at me. Ooh, booga booga. I guess your dad ought to just rename you Rainbow Smash. My wings were twitching. I wanted to fly away from this dork. But since recess was almost over, I couldn't travel too far from school. Hoops rubbed his chin, trying to find two brain cells to rub together. He finally landed in front of me and yelled, Maybe I should just call you Blunderdash. Kids love to press each other's buttons, don't they? Hoops finally stomped on mine. I slammed my chest into his, knocking him off guard. You know what, Hoopy Doofus? I'm kinda just not giving a care about putting my hoof into your hollow head. As he regained his footing, he smirked, If you want to knock me out, try reading me Goodnight Luna. Standing on my rear hooves, I swung my back right foreleg and drew a bead on Hoops' stupid haircut. Let me read you Goodnight Hoops instead. Right before my right hoof was grabbed, my right hoof was grabbed right before I was lifted off the ground. Two very familiar angry eyes filled my vision. Those bloodshot peepers have burned a hole into my mane enough times for me to know that they belong to Principal Tsunami. They darted towards Hoops, who was trying to ninja sneak away. Hoops, Rainbow Dash, he barked. My office, now. The gray Pegasus with the blue mane and tail loomed over both of us in his office, like a lightning-filled thunderhead. Do you enjoy detention, Miss Dash? You don't seem to mind spending a month in summer school. Even in my fill years, I always spoke my mind, even when I had the collective smarts of goat cheese. Which was often. This one time, however, I tried to choose my answer carefully. Hoops keeps picking on me. Tsunami points it at him while keeping his eyes on me. Do you think hitting this colt or any other pony is the best way to handle teasing? I almost said the remark, it would make me feel better. It sat on the back of my mind, waiting to get used. It's still waiting because I chose to instead say, can't you just tell him to stop bothering me? Very well. Hoops. Hoops looked up, puppy-eyed. Yes, sir. Stop teasing, Rainbow Dash. Leaning back to face both of us, he continued, if I catch either of you fighting each other or any pony else again, I will have you both expelled from flight camp. Do I make myself clear? Do you understand? We both nodded, which seemed to satisfy him. Good. Now, Hoops, go back to class. Miss Dash, stay here for a minute. When Hoops left the office, Tsunami sat down in front of me. Rainbow, you know that simply telling that colt to stop teasing you isn't going to work. My ears flattened. Man, I hate it when grown-ups tell me stuff that I needed to hear. My dad's still mad at me for having to take summer school, Mr. Tsunami. If I get expelled, he'll tie me to the house's weather vane until I'm an old mare. He snickered. I doubt he would be that cruel, in spite of your numerous shortcomings. You are a very bright pony. You're brimming with energy and aggression. Why can't you channel your active nature towards something more constructive? Like what? Patting me on my shoulder parentally, the principal said, as long as it's something that won't get you expelled, I don't care. Perhaps you should make it less fun for him to tease you. Bullies tend to get bored quickly if you don't give them anything to work with. That's what my dad keeps saying. Sighing, I said, I'll think of something. As I left his office, Gilda flew over to me. Hey Dash, I heard what happened. I'm sorry I wasn't there to cover your back. Giving her a pat on the shoulder, I replied, that's cool. I didn't hit Hoops. You don't strike me as a violent kind of pony. A little dweeby at times. Oops. When she heard my little growl, Gilda held up her hand and quickly added, but that's a good thing for you, I guess. I don't want to punch that stupid colt, but I would like to beat him at something. Gilda pointed at a poster. Maybe you could beat him at that. I stopped and looked at a picture. I walked past 1,000 times but never really noticed. It showed two Wonderbolt colts racing each other and on a cloud-line obstacle course. Hey Dashie. Yeah? You're rubbing your hooves together and grinning. That means you're hatching a plan. That's right. That will end with the Everypony hating you. If I can't get the best of Hoops, I won't care. I'll need your help, though. Gilda grinned and shrugged. Hey, as long as I'm not the one that gets expelled, I'm game. Hoops stared at me as if mushrooms were growing out of my mane. You want me to do what? I want you to race me to Ponyville City Hall after school. If I win, and I will because I'm awesome, you have to promise to stop bullying me. Hope shook his head like a disappointed father. And if I win, when I win, and I will, because I'm a cult and you're just a bite-sized mare. What's to stop you from lying about winning the race? Suppressing the urge to strangle Hooves, I pointed at Gilda, who was filming us. My buddy will be waiting at the finish line to film me beating you. What do you say? He grinned. When you lose, you've gotta let me bully you whenever I want until you graduate from flight camp. No tattling to any grown-ups. Not even Gilda. Got it. I spit on my right front hoof and held it out to him. Deal. Put it there. Every Pegasus who's old enough to know how to go to the bathroom unattended knows that a spit-covered hoof-shake agreement is a sacred bond. I just wish that Hoops hadn't drunk milk right before he slapped that loogie-coated hoof on mine. The splat of our swapped spit sounded like a bug exploded on a windshield. Gilda turned off her camera, sticking out her tongue. Ugh, why did I film that? The race was supposed to be only known to the three of us, so naturally any pony who was any pony had lined up around the flight camp entrance to watch Hoops and I turn up at the starting line. A few of the younger fillies even held signs and waved our names on banners that sparkled with half-dried glitter glue. Some yellow, quiet mare held up a checkered flag. When she was sure we were both ready, she swung down a flag and got blasted aside by our mutual launch. That's a reason why some Pegasus parents kept their foals on leashes until their teeth grow in. Flying feels awesome. Only the most powerful unicorns can make themselves hover like Pegasi. Earth ponies can only hang glide, sure, but a young Pegasus like me can leave those wannabes 10 miles behind me in a few minutes. Nothing beats having natural-born wings. When I broke through a thick patch of clouds, I saw Hoops turning into a speck of dirt as we got closer to Ponyville. My heart thumped in my gut. I forgot that Hoops may have been a doofus, but he's a fast doofus. Since I didn't want his unbridled teasing to haunt the rest of my school days, I pounded my wings harder. When we were 2 miles from Ponyville, I found myself gasping for breath. My wings were threatening to cramp on me soon, so I had to catch up to Hoops quickly. At the speed I was going, my eyelids were peeling away from my face. Not being able to blink made my vision blurry. I had to slow down to wipe my eyes so I wouldn't accidentally smash into a building. Holding a hoof over my eyes, I squinted at the town. I couldn't see Hoops anymore. I was only a mile from the finish line, which meant he was even closer. Oh, Charlie Hitballs. Panic can make you do a lot of things. It made me speed up. The back of my mind kept trying to remind the front something about flying that close to the ground, but I was too frazzled to focus on anything but winning the race. The buildings zipped past me faster than the last time I was in town. When I saw City Hall looming beyond the trees, I whooped with joy. Then I heard flapping behind me. Hey, Rainbow Crash. You're going to lose. Heckled Hoops as he inched closer. Only a half-mile remaining. Gilda was sitting on top of the building, camera at the ready. Looking behind me, I hollered, Dream on! I got this race in the bag! His eyes bugged out as he widened his wings vertically to stop. You're gonna get roofing tiles in the face if you don't... The world exploded around me in a hail of splinters and pain. Stop. When I crawled out of the wreckage, Gilda hauled me upright. How many fingers am I holding up? Those are upturned thumbs, Gilda. That's because you won! I whooped as much as my sore body allowed. Man, I felt like I had spent an hour in a tumble dryer. Gilda picked me up and flew us both down to the ground. I couldn't help but smirk when I saw Hoops stamp in frustration. Gilda held up her camera triumphantly. I got a lot of great footage, pal. Rainbow Dash won by at least 10 hoofs. So what? That doesn't mean squat to me because I got my cutie mark. He pointed at his flank, which now held 3 basketballs on it. At least this way, I'm still ahead of you. I'll keep my promise to never bully you again, Dash. But my buddies are faster than me. They'll want to race you too. I scratched at my head. Why would a Pegasus get a basketball as a cutie mark? Gilda pressed the rewind button on her camera, hit the play button, and let me take a peek at her footage. Hoops had lost control and crashed into a basketball court. When he bounced off a backboard and slipped through the net, his mark appeared. Tears rolled down my cheeks as I rolled around laughing. Hey, Hoops. It looks like you got 2 points. Stammering and blushing, he flew away. Wiping away my tears, I heard larger wings flapping towards us. I looked up to see my father frowning at me. Well, I'm glad to see you were having so much fun wrecking Ponyville property again, young filly. Gilda gulped and smiled nervously. Hello, Mr. Dash. I jumped to my hooves. That is not what you think. Rubbing his temples, he closed his eyes. That's what you said after you shattered all of those windows. Do I have to tie you to my weather vane to make you settle down? My skin trembled as if ice water had gotten dumped on me. You know that. Listen, I was raising Hoops because Principal Tsunami said that if I hit him like I wanted to, because Hoops kept teasing me, he'd expel me and I beat Hoops, but in a race, not with my hoofs. Rainbow? Said my dad. He was really fast, but not so fast that I had to break the sound barrier because you told me not to do that anymore, but I wasn't watching where I was going. He coughed. Rainbow, I'm not... And I accidentally, by accident, crashed into City Hall. Hey, Rainbow Dweeb! Yelled Gilda. Shut your cupcake hole! Good old Gilda. Even to this day, in my so-called adult life, I sometimes need her to snap me out of my hyperspeed blabber mold. I slumped to the ground, ears flattened. Quietly I said, I really don't want to do anything to make you even madder at me. My dad sat down next to me and patted my back. You chose to race some pony rather than get into a fight with him? Uh-huh. Do you remember to get him to spit hoof shake in an agreement to never bully you again if you won? Yeah. Wait, did you do that when you were in flight camp? A few times, yeah. I'm proud of you, my little Dashie. You have a lot of pent-up energy and aggression. But when you try, you come up with great ideas. I'm not mad at you about the race. I'm not even angry about the hole you punched into City Hall. My eyes gleamed. Really? Rubbing his chin, he pondered. Well, I'm a little annoyed about the particular property damage. One mere bill for me, I guess. You and I are going to pay a visit to a friend of mine. It seems that when you zipped past his place, a few tree branches snapped off and smashed his patio window. Aw, nuts. Who is he? He used to be one of the best window bolts around. Super speedy, sharp spurs, we used to call him. Wait a minute. I have his phone number from a job flyer he posted in Cloudsdale. I bet if I mowed his lawn, that would pay the debt. Dad chuckled. That patio window costs a lot of bits, Rainy. You'll have to mow his lawn for free for at least a month to compensate him. Look at it this way, Rainbow, said Gilda. You're going to need the exercise if you want to get fast enough to beat Hoops' friends in future races. They all probably hate you for making him look bad. I looked at Gilda as she aimed her camera at me. You have a point. Wait, were you filming this the whole time? Grinning, she nodded. I sure was, Rainy. Man, that's definitely going into my movie library. Standing on my rear hooves, I pointed at her and hissed, Only my parents can call me that, okay? Don't you dare tell anybody else. Holding up a hand, Gilda replied, You got it, Dash. Slitting my eyes, I asked, Do I have to make you spit hoof shake on that? Ruffling her feathers with a nauseated shudder, she shook her head. Patting my shoulder, Dad said, You have great speed for such a young filly. Have you ever given any thought about being a Wonderbolt? I'm sure Sharp Spurs could give you some flight tips. I shrugged. I'll think about it after I pay for his window. And that's my fillyhood in a nutshell. They were definitely not the best days of my life, but they weren't too bad either. I was almost always out of bits, but thanks to people like Gilda and my father, I was also never bored. And that was Everypony Still Hates Dash, written by Escarada. Alright, so apologies for any background noise and also for my subpar voice acting. I'm kind of good at Rainbow Dash, as somewhat it doesn't take a lot of effort to do her voice, but the voice for Principal Tsunami, I couldn't think of anything but my own voice, as well as for Rainbow Dash's father. The voice for Hoops, good lord. That sounded terrible even to me, so I do apologize deeply for that. And Gilda, her voice is kind of like Rainbow Dash's, but still kind of hard for me to pinpoint, so I couldn't properly do it. So I just used my own regular voice for that. Just gave it a slightly deeper tone, in a sense. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed this reading. And it's good to see that Rainbow Dash did actually learn her lesson. Although it's kind of sad to see that she broke the sound barrier pretty good enough to break some windows. And got her allowance taken away because of it. Classic Rainbow. Well, even in her adult life, she's still the same way she was as a kid. But hey, we love her for that. Anyway, I am Lotus Moon, and I want to wish you all a good morning, afternoon, evening, or night wherever you are, Everypony. Good night.